Hi everyone, I am so happy that you have clicked on our video to watch one of our Elements Education classic techniques. It will mean the world to me if you can hit the subscribe button and leave a comment below. I'm very confident by watching this video, it will certainly help you expand your range in hairdressing. Just so you know, you have 42 videos in the Elements course, providing you with all you need to know about cutting, color, and pin-ups, so you can be a successful behind the chair stylist. Please use my discount code PAUL70 to redeem your 70% off the full package. This is a limited time offer, so get there quick. So I'm going to show you how to create this commonly used vertical layering technique. This layering technique removes a lot of weight throughout the middle areas of the haircut, but also holds on to and keeps the length throughout the perimeter. This is a suitable layer for clients who have fine to medium or thick hair. This is also a useful technique for clients or guests wanting to remove internal weight but still wanting to hold on to their length. This is also a useful technique for any clients who have mid-length hair all the way to a short crop. So let's begin this vertical layering technique. I'm going to be using the small cutting comb in the YS Park range. I'm going to be using my 5.5-inch blade also. I recommend that you get a few different types of combs to use for cutting and find out what's comfortable for you. But for different lengths of hair, I like to use different types of combs, different lengths of combs. We're going to take our profile central parting, which we take our guide through the middle of the nose, come all the way up to the forehead, and then we take the first tooth of our comb and just pull it through right the way to the crown area. Comb the hair down. Make sure that the hair is nicely saturated for even sectioning. Okay, so we go all the way down into the nape, up until maybe the occipital bone now. So what we need to do, we need to take a diagonal forward section right the way into the recession line. Now the dummy heads don't really show too much of the recession line, to be honest with you, but you will notice it more on your clients, your guests. We're just going to clip that out the way. I'm going to take another diagonal forward section onto the other recession line. So we want to make sure that that's even all the way through on both sides. So important to do that. Once you have that ready, you can actually just grab all the hair up, really nice and clean, away from your sectioning. So once you have all the hair away, so we start with our profile vertical section. So our profile, you'll hear me say profile quite often. Our profile vertical section is our starting point for the whole haircut. And our profile vertical section is vertically taken. So we pull the hair out vertical. I'm going to be pulling the hair directly out from the head in a vertical section, 90 degrees from the back of the head. Even though the head curves down, that section is going to be elevated vertically. So there's going to be a slight over direction from the bottom of the hair. So we start with our profile vertical section, vertically being straight out from the back of the head. And I need to keep this nice and square to the back of the head here. So it's nice and vertical. So my line is going to be, so anything below this is going to be over directed up. And I'm going to point cut the section. This whole haircut's going to be point cut all the way through. So by point cutting, just gives me a little bit of softness through those lines. So I'm going to be working parallel to my vertical profile section, and I'm going to over direct my profile vertical section upon my next section. So this section basically comes directly out 90 degrees from the head shape. So I will be working around, my distribution will be round of the head. So comb under to make sure that you over direct your first section onto your second section. I'm going to point cut that. As I point cut, I'm holding my scissors in my fingers. I'm balancing, therefore it prevents me from cutting myself. Take half of your previous section, comb your first section away, and you're going to move around in vertical sections and move on to section 3. As I work around, my distribution will be rounded. I pull the hair vertically out from the head. I can take my guide underneath, so I can pull my scissors on top of my section. I've got my guide underneath there, which I can see, making sure my elevation is vertical. Okay, I'm going to take part of my section 3, comb it away, take a new section. As I work around the head, distribution is rounded, my elevation is vertical. 90 degrees directly out from the sides of the head. And point cut. So as you can see, I'm working parallel to each of my sections and taking part of my previous section and then adding it to my new sectioning. And this is just so I can follow my guide all the way through. Elevation is vertical from the side of the head. Take half of my section, comb that away. Take another little piece and work parallel to my previous section. Okay, at this point, you can actually decide to over direct your last section onto your previous one. So over direct this, and what happens here is that you retain a little bit more weight through the front areas. Over direction is designed to actually add length or add weight. So at the front areas here, we just want to add and keep the integrity of the shape. Therefore, we just over direct it back a little bit to maintain a little bit more weight through the front areas. So let's over direct that back to our previous section, still keeping our distribution rounded, but our angle is vertical. It is also very important as you work through your sectioning is to completely cross-check it. So you go perpendicular to your sectioning and elevate everything straight out from the head. Make sure that it's evenly all the way through. So I'm going to work now from the back all the way through the left side. So I'm going to work through a parallel vertical section, taking my profile vertical section with me, over directing that back. Elevation is vertical, but my distribution is rounded and it's 90 degrees from the head. And I'm point cutting. I'm placing my comb right away in between my thumb and my fingers. So we're taking another parallel vertical section. We take a little piece from our new section and we take a little piece from our old previous section and we elevate the hair out, directly out 90 degrees from the head, elevate it vertically and we point cut. We take a little piece from our previous section and a new piece from our newer section and we elevate it again vertically, but keeping it 90 degrees out from the head. If this needs to be over-directed, this over-directs up a little bit. To keep it vertically from the top, you can use your scissors to check your guide. And point cut. We're going to continue with our parallel vertical sections, keep adding as what we have been doing, adding a little bit of the new section, a little bit of the old section, and pulling it out. We comb from behind to make sure that we're on top of our section. The distribution will be rounded all the way through to the sides. Our parallel vertical section there. A little bit of the old, pull it forward at the back from behind and pull it directly out vertical from the side of the head. Hairdressing Live is designed for stylists wanting to expand their range in classic right the way through to creative techniques. Empower yourself or your team with true growth by accessing over 100 masterclasses available to watch now. Hairdressing Live offers lots of different classes designed for everybody's busy schedules, which means you can move your creative journey forward without putting your own life on hold. Don't waste any more time and start your own subscription now. Here are some of the classes we have available on Hairdressing Live right now.
Welcome to Hairdressing Live. I'm Eugene Suleiman.
Hairdressing Live is the future of education, and I'm Christelle Landquist, the Global Creative Technical Director for TG.
Welcome to Hairdressing Live. I'm Alan Smith, the founder of Fantastic Hairdressing.
Hairdressing Live is the future of education, and I'm Tom Connell.
This is Hairdressing Live.
Develop your confidence.
World-class educators, straight to your computer.
Wherever you are, you can watch.
Instantly.
Passion, commitment and dedication.
Fantastic way to learn.
High quality.
Information being accessible to people all over the world.
Strengthen your weaknesses, but also strengthen your strengths.
Hairdressing Live, the future of education. I'm Tim Hart.
So it's important to cross-check, go perpendicular to your sectioning and elevate the hair directly out. Make sure that you can't see any discrepancies with your sectioning. Once you're happy with that, to proceed forward, we now release the top section. We take our guide right the way through the nose, comb right the way through the middle of the head, comb it down on one side and comb the other side down. So we continue our profile vertical section up into the upper part of where the horseshoe section was originally taken. So we elevate everything now vertical out from the top. And we pivot now in radial sections because we're coming from the crown area. So we pivot in our radial section, pivot in radial sections here, all the way through until we meet the ear. So elevate the hair directly vertically out and you blend it with the underneath sections. So you pivot, radial section, you take a little bit of your previous and follow that shape around. So once we've pivoted around to the top of the ear, we now continue our vertical parallel sections, working towards the front hairline, pulling the hair vertically from the side of the head. So we take a little piece of our new section, work our way forward, taking a little bit from the section behind and point cutting. So piece by piece, we work in the same format, working parallel to each section, elevating everything directly vertical from the side of the head and point cutting it out. So your last section, you over direct back, as we have done on previous haircuts. Over direct it back up onto your previous section, just so you don't expose this hairline. It's nice to over direct it back to add a little bit more strength through the front areas. So I'm just over directing that last section back and making sure that that is cut vertically from the side of the head. I'm going to repeat the same on the opposite side. Okay, so we're going to work on the opposite side in the same format. So we're going to pivot around in radial sections, elevating the hair vertically, and I'm going to continue point cutting my sectioning. We take a little piece of our first section and take a new piece, a little piece from our new section. We comb behind our sectioning in order for us to distribute the hair so it's coming 90 degrees out from the head shape in a round format. So I'm moving around the hair. That's what I mean by distributing the hair round. Take a little piece by piece, working my way around. Okay, so we've reached our front part, second to last section, but making sure that we over direct back up onto this section here. This holds onto some of the weight. Through to the front areas. By over directing back, it keeps that nice shape going in there. So once we've finished our layering technique, we're going to continue and do the baseline. So we separate the hair in two, we comb all the hair down together. And I'll tell you why we comb all the hair down together, because there is no sectioning here. As we've layered all the hair vertically and the hair falls into its natural format, we've only one section through the bottom to actually cut because it's all been layered. The hair gradually gets shorter all the way up here. So when the hair falls, when we bring this area up, we're actually only working with one section. So all we need to do is actually just comb all the hair down straight. We stand square to the back of the head to keep that nice shape there through the back. What we're going to do is just comb all the hair down with the wide end of the tooth comb, and I'm going to continue and point cut with my fingers. Hold the hair, natural hair fall with my fingers. So once we've cut that area, what we want to do is actually move through to the sides. So we separate the hair, and naturally the hair, as you have worked in this round vertical sectioning, as you work away around the head, this will happen. It'll expose your hairline. As it curves over the ear, your hairline will come up and around. So what we're going to do here is just work just by holding that into its natural hair fall, not over directing it, just keep it where it would naturally fall to, comb it down, and what we're going to do is curve that up in line with our hairline. Just point cut. Same here, down at the bottom. I'm going to work up to the front hairline. Same as what I did here, curved it round, and then back up to the hairline. So the hairline moves around and up. This is exactly what we're going to do here. We're going to expose that, combing it down, natural hair fall, just trim these areas up. So we're going to repeat the same on the opposite side. Comb it down, natural hair fall, and I'm cutting up in line with our hairline. So once we've completed all the layers and we've completed the length, the only thing left is to cut the triangle off through the top. So as you elevate everything directly out through the sides and cut it here through the sides, you get a slight bit of weight build up here through the top. So what we do, we just comb it all forward to recession line on one side, comb it all the way over, and then come horizontally across the top of the head. And this, we're left with a triangle at the top, so we just remove those areas there. Come horizontal, parallel horizontal sections, elevate the hair directly straight up from the top of the head, and take, point cut the little triangle off. Parallel horizontal sections working towards the front hairline. So we're going to continue and blow dry our vertical layering technique. We're going to use a mixture of a few different techniques in the blow drying. So we're going to be using a wrap blow dry technique along with just using the high temperature brush to kind of flick out the edges a little bit. This creates a little bit of softness and a little bit of detail. I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Techniart Volume Lift product. This will help me create a little bit of volume. It's a drier product, which allows me to create some texture. It protects the hair from the hairdryer. So we just put it directly in at the root. Once we sprayed it through, we comb the hair through and make sure that we're happy with the distribution of the product, that it's evenly distributed all the way through, right the way through to the edges. So we're going to start with our wrap blow drying technique. We're just going to brush the hair away from the face. Taking diagonal back sections, brushing it away from the face. To brush it away, all the way away from the face. Once we've done that, we take a section from the recession line, brush that away, and start working the section onto the face. So now we're working with diagonal back sections, brushing it towards the face. You've got to wait until it's almost about 90% dry. Now we do the same on the opposite side. Brush the hair away from the face again from this side. You can start at the back, working your way towards the front hairline. Directing the nozzle in at the root and then distributing it out towards the edges. So you brush section from the recession line over to one side and blow dry this forward onto the face. And then come back piece by piece over the other direction. So as you can see, my nozzle is directed into the root area. So once we've finished the wrap blow drying technique, I'm now going to go through as just need to smooth out the edges and maybe just put a little bit more of a finesse on there. And by doing that, I will need a high temperature brush, which is just going to help me smooth out, create a little bit more tension to pull the hair out and smooth it out through the edges. So what I'm going to do is actually just take diagonal back sections away from the face. I'm going to angle my brush diagonal onto the face like this. So it creates a little bit more softness. I would like to flick this out ever so slightly, but not in a contrived way. I don't want it flicked out, like really flicked out. I just want it subtle. So I'm gonna come under and move my brush to the side. You'll see me do this quite often, and it just gives us a nice little subtle flick. So I'm gonna work my way up the head in diagonal back sections, coming onto the face. You'll see me come across the face for this last section here. You'll see me come across the face just to create that little bit of softness there through the front. Just helps finish off the front area. You know, if I want to flick this out a little bit, just puts a nice little bit of detail on that. So I'm going to continue into the back area. So the ends of it are going to be flicked out, but the top of it's going to be slightly tucked under. This is quite a classic technique. So once we finish the blow dry and creating this beautiful shape, we have noticed that it's quite thick internally. As you take layers shorter layers generally build up a little bit more weight. So it's important for us to texturize through the layering in exactly the same technique as the vertical layer. So we're going to go back through each section, starting at the back. We're going to elevate everything straight out from the head. In the vertical sectioning technique, in the vertical layering technique, pull everything directly out from the head, and I will point cut parallel to the hair. I'm coming in about 1.5 inches. I'm cutting parallel into each section. It is important to follow the same section pattern that you previously have done in order to keep the integrity of the shape. So what you will find is the lower areas will be a little bit finer. You'll find the top areas here be a little bit heavier, so you can spend a little bit more time removing the weight through the top layers. So I'm going to pivot in radial sections around the head, elevating the head out vertically. And as you can see, my fingers are above, so I'm working overhand, but making sure that my distribution of hair is still vertical to the back, and I'm moving around in a round distribution. I'm going to continue texturizing predominantly the top sections, as we find that carries a lot more weight. As I come into the nape, it's nice to even it out and just texturize through those areas, but predominantly focusing in on the top area. In order to complete the whole side areas, I still need to go through and just texturize my length. So I'm just going to go in underneath my sectioning, little piece by piece, just texturize that line out. So what I'm doing there, I'm holding my section, I'm coming in and pinching the hair, moving my blades along my scissors, along my fingers, moving my blades along my fingers, and then closing them and just taking out small amounts of hair. Let's do that again. So pinching, move my blades along my fingers, pinching again, move my blades along my fingers, little pieces of hair will be taken from, not chunks, just tiny pieces of hair. Gives us that nice, soft, fluid shape. I continue the same technique into the back perimeter. I'm going to work overhand and just texturize predominantly the top areas, as that is the most heaviest. I'm going to pivot in parallel vertical sections. Let me just finish this whole section. Remembering over directing that back to the hairline. Get that nice softness. I'm also going to just deep point cut into the perimeter using the same technique they explained on the opposite side. When you build up a bit more confidence, you can start coming through a bit quicker, a bit more confidently. Always nice to go through and comb the hair forward and see the shape, make sure it's balanced, bring the hair forward, elevate the hair out a little bit more. By elevating this out a little bit, it takes it away from the client's face rather than combing it down right on her face. But by elevating it out, it creates a little bit more softness. So when you do point cut through this, create softness as you let it fall. Another way you can do this is actually directly come above and pinch all that section together, elevate it up, and you can deep point cut into it this way. removes a little bit more weight internally. I'm just going to use a little bit of L'Oreal Techniart density material. This density material is one of my favorite products to use. Great for all types of hair, length, texture, and it's a lovely, lovely product just to, you know, it just sort of neutralizes any sort of frizzy bits or any flyaways without it leaving it too like oily. It leaves the hair in more of a sheen, and it really dries in and makes the hair feel a little bit less clean in a nice way. And I say less clean, it just kind of finishes the hair, because some clean hair can generally feel very flyaway. So this just takes the edge off it a little bit more and gives it a lovely little finish with separation through the edges. You don't have to use much. So make sure whenever you're running product through, you run it right the way through. If you're a little bit scared, you start at the back, work your way forward, because the last thing you want to do is get a lump of product right the way through the front, which you can't remove. So you can wear this sleek or texturized. This is our finished vertical layering technique. So let's just recap what we've done here. We started with a horseshoe section, but to establish the horseshoe section, we had to take a central profile parting from the center forehead right the way through the center nape. We took two diagonal forward sections from just above the occipital bone right the way through to recession line on either side. We then worked a central vertical profile section. We elevated everything out vertically, but 90 degrees from the back of the head. We then worked in parallel vertical sections, taking a little piece of every profile section and taking a new piece of our new section, working those together. So we combed from behind each section, so over directed our profile upon our new guide. Therefore, elevated everything 90 degrees. The distribution was rounded, so we rounded our way around the head and elevated everything vertically. So it was elevated vertically from the back of the head, but I worked my way in around parallel vertical sections. So from piece to piece, you take a little guide from your previous section, take a little piece of your new section, merge them together, comb it from behind, elevate it directly out 90 degrees from the new section, and elevate your fingers vertically from the side or from the back, and then from the side of the head. You continue that technique in parallel sections all the way through to the front hairline. We repeated exactly the same on the opposite side. Then we released the horseshoe section. As you comb everything down in the middle of the head, you comb it down from the crown back over your previous section. We continued that vertical profile section through into the top areas. We elevated everything out, continued it vertically. We pivoted in radial sections all the way through the back on either side, elevating everything out directly 90 degrees from the head shape, but keeping our fingers vertical until we met the ear. And from the ear to the front hairline, everything worked in parallel vertical sections, elevating everything out vertically from the side of the head. Nothing came above this section, so it came straight out, and we cut vertically here. So we created that shape through the sides. The only thing we over-directed back was the front hairline, back up onto our previous section here, again to maintain that weight through the front. So we cut the perimeter shape just in one section and cut it square to the back of the head. We combed it down and followed the hairline around and around over the ear and up towards the front hairline, following the hairline around, so it continues that shape. Vertical layers exposes everything around the hairline. So what we wanted to do is clean that line, strengthen it up, just so it wasn't too flimsy and fly away through those areas. We then went through and texturized every section about 1.5 inches deep. That just gave us that lovely blended fluid haircut shape. This is our vertical layer. If you would like to watch more videos like this, you can head over to hairdressinglive.com and you can access the full Elements education course. Or you can click the link in the description box below and it's going to take you straight through to the website. And remember, for a limited time offer, we have 70% off and you can use my coupon code, which is Paul70.